New York has always been, this is a bold statement coming up, my favorite music city. No question that it's, connected to my life-changing discovery of the Ramones way back then. And I still can't walk past the Guild Hall in my hometown of Preston, without a couple of nostalgic tears forming for when I first saw them play there. I tried my best not to wash off the water that Joey threw over me when things were getting a little hot, but my mum put paid to that anyway. She insisted I get a wash. But getting back on track, I mean, all those New York musicians over the years, kind of infinitely different stylistically, but almost always identifiable as a New York sound. I don't know what it is, and hindsight's a glorious thing to have, but could the Ramones, could Blondie, Public Enemy, Roxanne Shante, Lou Reed, and all the others really have existed anywhere else and created their own distinctive sound. Yet it's still a kind of New York sound. I don't know. Maybe I'm actually probably I'm talking shit, but
Yeah,
that's some thoughts. My
yeah,
guest band Laptop goes back to the late 90s, and the 90s seems such a kind of divisive decade for sort of music, and divisive in terms of opinions. I really feel that Laptop were ahead of their time, and this is perhaps part of what makes New York New York. That ability to to be ahead of the pack so often. Laptop have had and still have the cinematic monologues, the rebellion, this sort of self-deprecation, love, heartbreak, nostalgia, and I think also an ability to sort of cross generations. And I can say that because I'm like 20 odd years older than when they started, and the second coming is here, and I'm still hooked. So, enough from me. Jesse Hartman, welcome. Thanks so much for coming on. It's a real
yeah.
pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, everything you were saying was jarring something in my brain. So I don't know which point to hit, but uh,
Mm,
I definitely was I don't know, 7 years old or so when I first walked across a restaurant and sat down next to Joey Ramone.
wow.
Um,
My God.
uh, I remember there was a really cool place called Paul's Lounge, which is not there anymore. It is like a corner bar that was not far from CB's.
Yeah.
I think it was like on Third Avenue and 10th Street, which is now like New York University, like it's like a college town now. But at the
Yeah.
time, it was like a kind of like an empty, wasteland of sorts in the East Village. And I had a way older brother. He was 14
Mm,
years older than me. And so, he was just living in that neighborhood in his 20s, and he was going to CB's every night. And I was
yeah.
I was the 7-year-old kid brother just starting to play music
Yeah.
myself. And I was sitting in a bar in Paul's Lounge with him, and we were watching like a college basketball game on TV or something, some important game
Yeah.
to my brother. And he said, Jess, you see that long-haired dude like just sitting by himself reading the newspaper across the room. He's like, that guy is really famous now, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, you should go say hi to him and tell him you like his music. I'm like, but I don't know his music. He's like, well, it's good, and I'll play it for you later, and just tell him you'll like it. And I did. I went across the room and I sat down and I was like, I really dig your music. And he's like, thanks. And that was it. That was it. That was my first like go across the room to a 70s rock hero and try
Oh my
to
God.
get something out of them, and I did that a few times because I had lunch next to David Johansen once. I'm sure I said something idiotic to him. I had I had my famous take my demo tape to Richard Hell's house
Mm,
story, and There's others, well, and in college, I went to Chris Stein's house and recorded a demo.
Mm.
So I had a lot of and was a bartender during brunch when Lou Reed screamed at a waitress for bringing him bacon that wasn't burnt enough. So I had to calm down a crying waitress who was offended. She didn't even know it was Lou Reed. She didn't know who Lou Reed was, but she was
Wow.
crying because he yelled at her about his bacon. So, it was like, it was a small neighborhood with a
Yeah.
lot of these characters around, and
I,
I
re- I
was in,
remember. I remember going. This was a lot. This was maybe 2006 or seven, something like that, and just sort of walking um towards Soho, and there was a Tower Records on the way. I can't remember exactly where it was, but I remember there were kind of like a lot of people, outside and coming together, and I managed to get in. I didn't know what was going on. I managed to sort of get in somehow, and it was the New York Dolls playing.
oh, what year was
It
this?
This was probably about 2007,
Oh,
round
like
about that, round
some
about that.
revival of them playing?
Yeah, I think they because didn't they bring out they brought out an album roundabout then, I think. I
It's
can't remember
possible.
what it was, but it was great, and and David Johansen was there, just like in this fantastic sort of tight-fitting pink t-shirt. He just looked so like incredible, and
Mhm.
and I was oh my God, I just sort of found myself in the middle of this kind
Yeah.
of happening, just just
Yeah.
just amazing.
I actually think when I had lunch next to him, I was talking to a friend of mine about like a movie we were trying to make or, some kind of movie project.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think what he was doing was he was mocking us for talking about, oh, gonna make a movie. We're gonna make a movie. Yeah. So I think I was mocked by David Johansen, which was even better, even better.
Even better,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, this what I was saying in the intro about this sort of sound. It's of New York. I mean, it's not. I read something from a band that are they're in the sort of northeast of England, and they were talking about how like in the UK, like Manchester has had a sound, Liverpool has obviously had a sound from sort of way back when, and it's true, and I don't know, and I don't know what it is that kind of makes this. It feels like it. I don't know. It's almost like a. Is it an energy thing?
Yeah,
Because you can have all these different styles, but still there's
I
a.
think it's an
Okay.
energy, and I think it's kind of immigrant culture thing in America and
Mm,
New York. I mean, like just to be honest, like look, I grew up where like 10 minutes from where Lou Reed grew up, right?
mm,
And these are like suburbs of Manhattan.
mm.
These are not like the happening places. These are like the outskirts, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's where Reed grew up. That's where I grew up. Joey Ramone grew up in Queens, so that's kind of like on the outskirts of things. I mean,
Mm,
they're like immigrant families, like maybe not the parents, but the grandparents are immigrants from
mm,
Eastern Europe.
mm.
And so we're all kind of from the same, probably Eastern Europe places.
Yeah.
And the grandparents came over and they had their kids. And
Mm,
we're like the sons and daughters of this kind of like second generation immigrant thing in New
mm.
York. So there's like a shared accent. Like I think that I probably have like Lou Reed's accent. So,
Mm.
some of it is just
Yeah.
like old and cultural,
Mm.
and yeah, there's an energy and a sound that kind of feeds off each other. I mean, I grew up listening to all those records, so that I didn't have a choice really. I had my brother's record collection, and a lot of British music was part of the influence for sure. But
Mm.
there was the six Velvet Underground records I had to listen to, and
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
yeah, so
There's kind of a lot to be going out in
yeah,
your hometown as well.
Yeah. But, I had some big British influences, Bowie and
Mm,
other things and older things like The Who and everything. So,
yeah,
uh yeah, so I was kind of getting that too. And like you said, I think my music was like both too late and too ahead at the time because I think
funny, isn't it?
I
Yeah,
probably would have fit in the 70s okay, and even the 80s, but in the 90s, I don't know, it seemed like my stuff was either like too retro or too futuristic.
too
Uh,
futuristic.
yeah,
Yeah.
because right after I stopped, I think Electroclash kind of like blew up, and I
Mm,
was like, oh fuck, like
yeah.
that's what I was doing like a year ago. So, yeah,
It's a weird thing, the decades, because like the 80s was, I mean, I was born in 68, so like I was starting to get into music probably about like 1980,
yeah,
you, 79, 80, when I was starting to, I mean, before then was just a what I was listening to was a kind of write-off. We can just sort of quietly ignore that.
like that Barry Manilow or
Oh, all that sort of.
yeah,
We used to in the UK. We used to have these compilations from Top of the Pops, but
yeah.
they weren't. I think they should kind of get around copywriting or something anyway. But they weren't the real songs. They were kind of done by a sort of fake
Oh,
band. So they were pretty poor rip-offs of them. But you used to buy them because that's how you could get a kind of collection of stuff because you couldn't afford to buy all the singles or whatever. But yeah, all that sort of stuff. There was. I mean, God, I mean, like kind of Bay City Rollers, Mud, and all that sort
yeah.
of stuff in the sort of mid '70s.
I had the same thing. Yeah, the
But but
basic.
but the '80s was very. I mean, looking back, I don't think I appreciate it now. It was so kind of dynamic,
Yeah.
in so many different sort of spectrums. Like some really good stuff, some really bad stuff, and everything else as well. It was, and I don't know. How do you feel about like the '90s? How did that sort of stack up?
The 90s. Well, I mean, the 90s is when I mean, the 80s is when I was like listening to a lot of
Mm,
things.
mm,
Um, it started like with Remain in Light, like in 1980,
mm,
Talking Heads.
yeah,
That was like my first concert. And so I was consuming stuff in the 80s, and then
yeah,
but late 80s is when I started being in bands for real. And that was kind of Dinosaur Jr. grunge kind of stuff that we were
yeah,
doing. Um, but in the 90s, um, I became more of a creator than a listener. I would,
mm,
because I was fully, I had a band called Sammy
mm,
and then Laptop.
yeah,
Sammy was like 92, 93. We came to England in 93 or 94.
mm,
We were on Fire Records
yeah,
in London. We were on Sonic Youth's label in America and then Geffen after that. So from like 92 to 96, I was like full on like indie rock Sammy.
yeah,
And then from 96 to 2002, I was full on Laptop. So I
yeah,
really had my head up my own ass
yeah.
at that. Yeah. And it's not that I wasn't hearing other things like Beck and
Mm,
whatever. I, I was, but I was like part of the business and
yeah, kind of the creator
yeah,
side of
yeah.
things. Yeah, no, I hear you.
I think I did like 5 albums in that period of time. So
Yeah.
I was pretty um busy singing, I
I,
think.
ca- I came across a clip of the UK program The Word,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and it was so. I remember that's like when Terry Christian introduced you, and I don't know if you remember it, but he said
yeah,
he introduced you as the cutest quartet to come out of the States since the Monkees.
yeah. Pretty classic.
That was
Classic
just
moment. Yeah.
magnificent.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome day, I would say, overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, we that was our first trip to England.
Right.
Just started off with like a crazy bang. I mean, I think we only had one single out.
Mm,
Like that was my first single ever. And
yeah.
I mean those were the days, right? Like you could have one
Yeah.
song out and you were like playing in front of 4 million people on TV.
It's crazy.
We did a Peel session,
Oh yeah.
the same trip.
Wow.
I opened for Beck 3 times,
Yeah.
at Astoria 2 and a couple other places. I mean, it's madness. It
It's
was like,
wild, isn't it?
yeah, it's pretty cool. That was our first trip. Um, so, it's all downhill from there.
Well, this is interesting. So, I mean, going back to when you were saying you kind of growing up, what were the what one thing that's as I've got older that you start to I kind of started to think about you start to think about your life and what has made you who you are, and I often go back to my childhood for these sort of formative influences, kind of good and bad, and there's some things that I can still picture from when I was young of them actually happening. What kind of stands out for you
In terms of what? In
in,
terms of
in terms of like formative influences, I guess.
uh as from when I was a child.
Yeah, or
Uh,
kind of get from child, going through school and teens.
yeah. Well, I did have this like powerful older brother figure who had a pretty awesome record collection.
Mm,
And so when he went away, he kind of left all his vinyl in the room because
mm,
he was couldn't carry it around. He was like on the road and stuff.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I had this like library of records and room full of posters, and so
Mm,
I was getting a dose of stuff brought to
mm,
the house that most people weren't hearing in my town.
yeah. Yeah.
So it was a lot of Clash and Gang of Four and Richard
Mm,
Hell and the Talking Heads, and so all those records were like hitting my house like the minute they came out.
yeah.
That Public Images metal box, like
Yeah. Yeah.
everything. So I was
Yeah.
very young hearing all that stuff. So I had that crazy influence. Then I had the influence of just like your basic suburban, boring town. So I was
Yeah.
hearing all the popular crap too, which I
Mm,
guess didn't hurt. But so I was getting that, and I was getting a huge dose of like classic rock from the town because that's what the musician kids liked.
yeah. Yeah.
So I was getting Cream and
Okay.
Steely Dan and all that shit.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
really got a really weird mix of things, which
Yeah.
is cool. Uh, and yeah, The Doors. I think my first song I ever learned was Riders on the Storm.
Mm,
Had a piano in the house, so I learned piano first, and then
okay.
yeah, I got a guitar at like age 11 or so. Yeah, so it was a lot of music. I started in bands pretty early, like I was
Mm,
like sixth, seventh grade. Like we had a band, and then in high school was pretty serious about it. Like we auditioned at CBGB's, like with my high school band. Like
oh
it
my
was like
God, that's
Monday
insane.
night. Yeah, Monday nights they had like audition night, and so you would go. Anybody could audition. You just had to kind of sign up.
Yeah.
You'd audition. It was a big deal. We were really nervous. Played 6 original songs. Was
Wow.
told I sounded too much like REM. Come back another time, and that was it. uh, so yeah, it's funny to think that such a like you know, holy place. You know, you could just kind of walk in
Yeah.
and do an
It
audition,
was
basically.
when I was, I mean, when I was growing, I mean, I started playing the cello. My house, well, my mum wasn't particularly musical. My dad was. He was like singing was his thing. He was in like kind of choral societies and things
Yeah.
like that. And he really wanted me to get into music. And he really encouraged me to play the cello. And at 8, so from 8 to 16, I did all my exams. Around about 12, I was kind of getting into punk rock, and I was learning this classical kind of cello in a classical framework, and rigid practice and all this kind of stuff. And I kind of started to resent it, and
Yeah.
it was weird, because I wanted to get into the sort of music that I liked, and like as an only child, I never felt like I could do. Like the sort of spotlight was on, and if I because my dad, I mean, he literally hated my music. He used to call it bang and thump music, and that was just like really off-putting. I'm like, fucking hell, I have to bring in, I don't know, like Crass's latest record or something like that, and clearly, I couldn't play that at full volume. But it's so then, it's weird how then you start to kind of gravitate to other people that feel the same way as you as well. And clearly, it sounds like with your like high school band, you were kind of getting that as well.
Yeah. Although there was a lot of conflict because, I mean, just things weren't as like homogeneous in that
Mm,
time. I think like it was hard to find people that like liked the things that you did,
mm,
but it just wasn't as easy because
yeah, it's
people
true.
were getting so much information, right? It was
Yeah,
like, so, you had a band in high school, but like the keyboardist was like into Billy Joel and jazz and Steely Dan and what, it's fine, but it's just like
yeah,
he wasn't listening to Gang of Four or the
yeah,
Mekons or whatever. So there was a lot of like trying to teach each other what was cool or what you thought was cool and a bit of
yeah.
fighting actually. So, it wasn't really till college that I was able to find people that were like more on my page,
I think I remember at school that kids were more kind of obsessed with genres.
Yeah. Yeah,
If
right.
you if you like punk rock music, you couldn't like,
You
I
couldn't
don't know,
like, yeah,
pop music or
yeah. There were like your Grateful Dead guys who also liked reggae, so you couldn't like reggae, even though years later I realized that reggae was actually kind of cool. Like
yeah,
it was just
yeah,
like
yeah.
there was a lot of like, you know, division, I would say.
There was. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. It was like the Mods and the Rockers, it's like it was
Yeah, yeah,
that vibe. Like you were part of
yeah,
this or you were part of that. You were either like in the Velvet Underground mode or you were not.
yeah. You were not. Yeah, and that kind of dictated who you could be kind of friends with and who
Yeah,
you could hang out with and stuff like that.
right. And I didn't, there were no other kids that were like into what I was into. So I was trying to teach other kids a lot, like push
Mm,
you go to kids' houses with your records and it was like a religion. And so you
yeah,
were trying to convert other people to your religion. Yeah.
yeah,
So you might be in a band that would do a cover of this, but then a crazy cover of something else.
yeah.
Yeah, kids wanted to play Genesis, and I didn't want to do that. So I mean, it was a lot of that. Yeah.
So like getting into the sort of the creator mode or sort of whatever. I mean, what was there a sort of catalyst for that? Or was this just like a kind of feeling that you just kind of wanted to do, that you wanted more than just to consume?
Well, I think you felt this pressure that if you wanted to be in a real band and you wanted to get signed, you had
Mm,
to come up with your own stuff.
yeah.
And I remember I went on some kind of like uh, trip. It was like a camp kind of thing when I was like 15, when I wrote my first song with some dude
Mm,
that I met there. So I came home for the summer with my first song, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and I would say by the time I left high school, I had like 6 or 7 songs.
Mm,
Uh, and they're not bad, actually. It's weird. I
mm.
I actually revisited it all. I have the tapes still,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
those are the ones that were too REM for CBG.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're not bad. And I actually covered a couple of them. I don't know if you call it a cover. They're my songs, but I mean they're like really old. They feel like covers. Uh, as part of the session that made this new album for Laptop,
Yeah.
I did like 2 or 3 of these songs from like when I was 15,
Mm,
which are not coming out yet, but they're in the queue,
yeah.
and I'm excited about them. They sound
Yeah.
really cool. I changed them, you know. I kind of made them more laptop, but
Yeah.
they're going to be fun. So the reason I revisited some of this is because somebody has decided to write a book about me and Sammy and Luke, who was in
Right.
Sammy, and it covers laptop too. That's coming
Mm,
out in March. So once that book started getting written and we started doing interviews, and he wanted to talk about childhood and the teenage years and stuff, I started like revisiting all of it, and
right.
kind of more fun than I thought, to check it out. Yeah.
How did it feel to listen to those songs again when you first listened to them?
I mean, I think I assumed it was going to be horrible and kind of traumatic, but uh, it wasn't
It
actually.
wasn't.
No. And most of the reflections for this book were actually kind of pleasant for the most part. And I think I did avoid certain topics that were not pleasant, maybe. But
Mm,
the for the most part, it was cool, and it put me back in touch with like some people that I had lost touch with,
yeah.
had a fight with, or whatever. But it like kind of like brought a lot of us back in touch, and we got to revisit the '80s and the '90s
Gosh. Yeah.
together, and it was cool, actually.
I
I
love
think
how
we
music can.
realize, yeah,
No, so go on.
yeah, I think we realize now how special it was in a way. I don't think we quite appreciated it at the
Yeah.
time.
It's funny. I'd like, yeah, time's a healer, and then and music also just like this kind of unifier, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know, you
yeah.
can just eventually. I mean, I remember like an episode that I did a couple of years ago with a guy who lives in LA, and Gianluca Bucciolati, and he's written he's done a lot of songwriting for the people like Lana Del Rey and stuff.
Oh,
But he'd also been writing his own stuff, and but he'd never released it. He in the last couple of years he did release it, but he was saying he looked back at some of his earlier stuff. It's stuff that he'd filed away, and he said he literally got like folders like dog shit one, dog shit two. He said they were just I just felt they were awful at the time. 10 years later, he kind of goes and listens to them again. He's like, actually, they're not bad. They're not
yeah.
bad. It's weird how that works.
Well, that's how this whole new record was
Mm,
created, was because I took 15 years off or something, and but I'd been sort of like humming into my voice memos over the years
mm,
or whatever. And so when we got in for the first time, when we first set foot in this studio in Valencia, I
mm,
basically just took like the recorder that had stuff from like all the way back to 2010 or something, and
yeah,
just went through it one by one, and I'd hit something I'd like, and then we would just like, me and a drummer, I played bass, we would just
yeah.
like riff off of this thing. Uh, and seriously, like 80 songs later,
Wow.
3 days later, it was like this crazy, like eight basics for like 70 or 80 songs. So these songs are like the first 10. They're not really the best 10. They're just the ones that were first, really. But
Yeah.
so much good stuff came out of like not doing it for 15 years, and
Wow.
like and going back through this old stuff, these little ideas. It could be like I was in a car and I was like, blah, 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 and
Yeah.
it was really fun. Like I never done a record like that. And then we've been like layering and creating
Yeah.
songs on top of it, you know. And like three of them might be the high school songs, and four of them are like some crap from college that I probably thought
Mm.
was good at the time. And yeah,
What
it's
what
really
was
cool.
the catalyst? Was there a catalyst
Oh
for
yeah.
starting again? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, COVID hit, and again, like for when I had kids, you know,
Mm.
19 years ago. Charlie's 19 now, and he
Yeah. Yeah.
started playing with me. But so 19 years ago, he's born, and from that point on, music became just like the fun thing we did in the living room. I was like, I'm not really doing more records, or maybe I thought I would, and then it just faded away. And
Yeah.
basically, music became fun again, and just this thing in the living room and humming into the recorder and all this stuff. But then COVID hit, and we were doing, I would say, more music during COVID in the
Mm.
family because it was just you were stuck. Then we took a trip to Nevis. It was like
Yeah.
we hadn't been anywhere in years because of COVID, but we were like, oh, we're
Mm.
finally gonna take a trip. So we picked Nevis, partly to be honest. I was like looking at like places to escape because
Mm.
somebody had been elected in our country, and we were like, holy shit. So we were,
Yeah.
Nevis had, was part of St. Kitts and had like a program of like citizenship. So I was like
Right.
so paranoid. It's not just a vacation. I'm actually going to meet with people and see about like second citizenship.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the trip. I go to Nevis. There's no music thoughts. It's just like, get the hell out, go
Mm.
somewhere for once, get some air, you know. It's like a very
Yeah.
open place. Don't worry about COVID.
Yeah.
Definitely the COVID trip. I get there by myself because family couldn't come yet. So I land on this tiny island,
Mm.
and I go to the bar of this hotel I picked randomly. It's on the beach. It's kind of funky, like not so glamorous, just more like down home shack,
Yeah. Yeah.
rum on the beach.
Yeah.
Go to the bar. All of a sudden, like the bar starts filling up with like musicians from town, Rasta guys, like African drummers, like expats who play music, British people. Um,
Wow.
I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Oh, this is open mic night. This is like the place where all the musicians come. Like with the hotel I happen to pick, the bar, that this is the music place, you know. They're like, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And the guy sits next to me, this older guy, 70. Looks kind of cool, you know, he's British.
Yeah.
He's there on a similar trip. Oh, you play music? Oh yeah, I play. I used to be on Island Records, blah blah blah. He's like, oh yeah, I was in the band called the Winkies on Chrysalis in the 70s. And he's like, do you know Brian Eno? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, yeah, I was his drummer on his first solo album and first solo tour and Peel session.
Wow.
And so here I am, like now I'm like friends with the Eno drummer. And then like we got up on stage and like did some like Lou Reed covers or you know whatever. And so from that point on, he and I became very close. And he's the one who met me in Spain
Right.
to do all these songs.
Yeah.
So I mean I would say his name is Mike Demaray,
Yeah.
and he lives in London. A- and yeah, that friendship kind of sparked things.
Wow.
Yeah. And
That's an amazing story.
yeah, it was cool. Yeah, and then that summer is when we went to Valencia. Spain's a whole different thing. I've always liked it there. I used to have good shows there, so
Yeah.
found a really cheap studio in Valencia with an engineer, and so
Yeah.
yeah, we just did like all these songs, and then I took the music back to that island and had
Yeah.
a lot of the singers and musicians from that island play on it, a bit inspired by the Compass Point uh history. You know, there was
Mm,
a island had a studio in the Caribbean, and so the B-52s, Talking Heads, Grace Jones,
yeah.
uh, they all went there to that studio to record.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this was my idea. It was like I'm gonna have my own little like Compass Point, you know,
Yeah.
punk and new
Wow.
wave in the Caribbean. That's why the album has that flavor. You know, it's like it's
Yeah.
a laptop record, but there's like horns and steel drums and things. If you really listen, there's like some really cool like
Yeah. Yeah.
Caribbean things going on. Yeah. So
That is that is
it's a
that
crazy
seriously is
story.
just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
If ever there's a if you wanted to kind of define serendipity,
Yeah.
th
Yeah.
that would
This is not a normal album. This was like an album born out of like
yeah.
being lost from music forever and then kind of piecing it all back together in this really international kind of way. And yeah,
I mean,
it's a story. I could write a whole book about this record.
I
Yeah.
bet. I
Yeah.
bet. I mean, that's just incredible, and also that you got kind of that number of songs, kind of like 80 songs or whatever
Yeah. Yeah.
that almost that you've then kind of got from your voice memos from your little
Yeah.
your little recording. I mean, that's just
Yeah. No, it's
mind
pretty
blowing.
it's very exciting. It really is because I feel like I basically like, you know, I'm gonna do like a song a month kind of thing for like till I die, basically. That's
Yeah.
kind of a funny little plan.
And
Yeah.
and Valencia. I mean, I know Valencia really well.
Oh,
We go out to Spain quite a lot, and
uh,
probably spend about sort of 6 months, 5 6 months of the year there.
oh,
Just sort of south, about an hour south of Valencia. So we go there
oh,
quite. It's such an
oh.
amazing city. I love Valencia.
Where do you go? You go to like Denia, like that area, kind
But
of
just
like?
a bit further south, near Benitachell. It's about 20, probably about 20 minutes drive from Denia, south of
Oh,
Denia.
I've been looking at. I dream about houses in
Oh
Denia.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I get the listing. It comes to me.
oh dear, yeah,
My
yeah.
my
Denia's great
dream.
as well. It's great.
Yeah,
I mean, it's so kind of like well connected. I mean, it's great for taking the ferry across to to Ibiza or
yeah,
Formentera across
yeah.
there. It's like kind of 2 hours on the ferry,
Right, right.
and just like that whole kind of like away from the sea, away from the beachfront, that kind of backland is just sort of beautiful. There's
Uh,
the where is it? The oh, I've forgotten the name of it. The valley. Um Orber Valley. Is it the Orber Valley? Where there's basically like every February for about a week, there's all the almond blossom comes out. So all the almond trees
oh,
blossom with
oh,
these little pink flowers, and there's just for miles these beautiful trees. It's incredible.
wow, wow. Oh, cool.
It's a real thing, real thing.
I'll have to compare.
Like you have this sort of the Japanese
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Japan, those
Oh,
kind
well,
of April, May blossoms. It's the
I'll have to
equivalent.
compare
It's beautiful.
notes. Yeah, we ended up with a little apartment in Valencia.
Mm,
Uh, that and I became really friendly with all the musicians there.
yeah.
Uh, it's like super fun. And now they will send me stems, like there's a
Okay.
guitarist in Valencia who's just like he should have been in like Bowie's band. He's fucking amazing. He's just
Yeah.
amazing. And it's
Yeah.
like, but he's like nobody knows him and he's this simple guy. And yeah, so now like he sent me guitar parts for 10 songs that I just like layered into the next 10 things.
Yeah.
It's cool. So
Wow.
you just couldn't make albums like this back in the
Yeah.
day. It's so unique.
I mean, what the so the feelings that you have now compared to when you were bringing out Laptop's first album, the kind of the end of the 90s. What was it, 97, 98, around about
Yeah, I
then?
think even there was I think I released an laptop album in like '02 or '03. So
Yeah.
it crossed over a little bit.
Crossover, yeah.
Yeah.
how does it feel, now compared to then?
Uh, I would say like kind of there's a happier feeling to the whole thing.
Mm,
I'm not as like worried about everything at this time. And it's a little more inclusive. Laptop used to be a lot of me, you know.
mm,
I mean, I did have people on the records like Paige Hamilton from Helmet did the little solo and I'm so happy you failed. There were like
yeah,
guests and things, but
yeah,
it was a pretty solo project. And
mm,
and I still play like a lot of the instruments on this stuff and a lot of the
yeah,
singing. It's still like very me, but I have like brought in more people
mm,
the drummer and these musicians in the Caribbean and Spanish guys and some London people and of course some local New York people too. So,
yeah.
but it's a lot of like when I do the credits, like on Spotify or whatever, I run out.
You
Like
run out of space.
it won't give me any more things, and that's pretty annoying. I have to like leave people out. It's like, what is that? Yeah, so there's a lot of people involved and singers and things that it's like I have like a lot of love for everybody that's been involved with it. So it's a lot
Mm,
of like I send it out to people and you know I feel like there's a lot of warmth because people are into it because they've been part of it and
yeah.
also with the videos too because that was a not so I'm a filmmaker. So
Mm,
and that's kind of how I make a living too. So it's like this new thing where you have to make a video every day or two did not exist.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's kind of fun for me actually
Mm,
because it's kind of what I do.
what
It's a
you
lot of
do.
work. Yeah. So that's a whole nother thing is like now we're just like making films all the time
Yeah.
about with the material. So then I'm getting my shooters involved, photographers, cinematographers,
Yeah.
animators. It's people I work with like in my regular life. So
Yeah.
they're involved in this now, which is it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of people involved.
Mm.
Uh,
You you mentioned there's less worry now. I mean, so back in the day, was that a thing for you?
well, I think I once counted that I had been on like 16 different record labels
Mm,
back in the day.
mm,
Some big ones, some tiny ones, but it added up to 16. That's just
mm,
like a lot of BS to have to deal with.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
now it's like my own, I'm calling it Hurricane Cove Records, which is the little cliff where this place down in Nevis is.
Davis. Yeah. That's nice.
So yeah, I mean, there's still worry because it is hard to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And expensive, kind of like to be your own record label, but I'm not like beholden to a bunch of people that don't totally care as much as I do, and
Yeah.
I don't really have to ask anyone like what's the next single or like is there a single or can there be a music video? Like now it's just
Mm,
like yeah, this is the next single
mm,
because I think it's good and it ties in with like the next single is well, I did a holiday single which I never did before. That's coming out December 12th.
amazing.
The Tom Waits cover,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Christmas card from a hooker in Minneapolis.
Oh,
So
brilliant.
yeah, so that's good. And then on Jan 6, I'm releasing this really cool song called Confused, which is like the first song I did for the record, which is kind of about Jan 6 and the insurrection. And
Yeah.
so I was like, yeah, it's coming out on Jan 6. I don't have to ask anyone or like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, discussion whether it's good to release something so close to Jan 1st. Those all those things like don't factor in now. It's just like I just do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun.
I wonder. I wonder. It's an interesting one, isn't it? This the freedom. The kind of like the trade-offs that you have. The kind of the freedom to do, as you say. Comes with a trade-off that it's kind of more expensive. But you essentially are your own boss
Yeah, yeah,
compared to the other way. Basically the reverse, where there's the pressure of, okay, I've got to deliver an album by then and a single by blah blah blah. I don't know, but maybe it's the sort of circles that I move in now, but it feels that older school approach is less acceptable to people these days. That people do want more freedom. I feel, I don't know. It's a kind of anecdotal thing that I have.
yeah. I mean, I do miss some of the support. It is getting difficult at times
Mm,
to kind of keep up on my
yeah,
own. Yeah. But yeah, overall, it's an interesting new way of doing things. And before I started getting back into it, the idea that you had to do like a single every 6 weeks or waterfall method or all that stuff seemed a
yeah,
little bit crazy because that was not what I was used to. But
mm,
actually, I kind of like it now
mm,
because it's like each song gets its own like attention and story. I can
yeah,
basically like explain to everyone like this next song is this. It's like its own little movie, its own little like story,
yeah,
and its own little visual accompaniment, like the video, and uh, things don't get like lost. It's kind of like
yeah,
everything that's getting its artwork. Every single, I'm pretty much doing a single for each song on the record. So
yeah,
every
yeah,
song is getting its like little brand, a little like picture, uh and again, a lot of work, but pretty cool to do it that way. It's like chapters in a book, you know?
yeah. And um, I think this word relatability, right, which I think has become, it's one of those words I think that's become so overused, that its meaning gets diluted, a bit. But if you think, I think that, being able to, especially these days with so much music around, being able to sort of relate to, your fans, and who you want to hear your music is so important. I think, and creating those kind of stories, those little sort of vignettes of life or whatever, however you want to do it. I just think that is really important. And when it comes from the artist as well, predominantly from the artist,
Yeah.
I just think those are just such a nice thing to have, and kind of powerful thing to have for
Yeah.
talking about your music.
Yeah. I mean, it's a funny period for us or for me because, I've been away from it and we've been like back doing, back releasing stuff only
Mm,
for like 4 or 5 months now.
yeah.
And everyone's like, well, who's your market? And I'm like, well, I don't really know exactly because
Mm,
yeah, there's a market like legacy, like people that may have remembered laptop or like people who like music from that period of time. And then you have Charlie, who my son who's doing it with me, who's
yeah.
very Gen Z.
Yeah.
Uh, and so definitely like a lot of the followers and stuff are like in that age group.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of good. Like maybe this
Yeah.
is one thing that can cross into both a Gen X and a Gen Z.
I agree.
It might. I don't know.
I think so.
Do I have to pick? I don't know. It's like everyone's like, yeah, you got to pick your market. Can't be
I,
doing both, but I don't know, maybe.
it's I think that's kind of classic corporate marketing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think in music, I think it is because the nowadays people are not as obsessed with genres. I mean, there's so many bands and
Right.
music
Right.
that are putting out, just bringing in very diverse influences into their
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
And I have a bit of a gripe around, kind of genres anyway, that it's basically a kind of industry con.
Yeah. Where do you fit in? Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. I mean, and the music, the album, yeah, it's kind of new wave. It's kind of indie. It's alternative, but I did like bringing in a little bit of the African,
yeah,
Caribbean, uh, I don't know, the horn players from Ukraine. So
mm,
there's really interesting, weird horn parts. Like
yeah,
I would never have created. It's just scales that I don't really know. And
mm,
it's pretty cool having it on there. Sometimes he sounds Mexican, sometimes it sounds Eastern European. I don't know. It's very cool.
yeah,
And there's like two or three reggae kind of things, which is weird for me. I never did that before.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, hopefully people can flow with the different things
I mean,
going on.
the singles that you brought out so far are just
Oh, good,
fantastic. They're so
good.
good. They're so good.
That's great.
They just have like an energy of their own, and just this kind of, again, this sort of feel that, going back to what I was saying at the start, this sort of feel that is it's kind of laptop in New York, but you can't, you just cannot pigeonhole it. You never
Yeah,
want to,
yeah,
but you can't do
yeah.
it. But it has a life of its own.
Yeah. John Kennedy, yeah, he said joyous, which is funny
Yeah,
because I think it is. It's dark and funny and twisted and weird, but yeah, it's also very like joyous.
yeah,
It is like someone who's not done it in a while,
yeah, yeah,
pretty psyched to be back,
yeah.
and you feel that, you know.
Now with all the the long list of collaborators that you have, which how much of a difference, compared to, again, sorry, I don't mean to sort of compare it to sort of back in the day, but I'm just thinking about how you've approached it yourself with from, basically kind of the last time that Laptop was together, where it was predominantly you, through to now, where you've got to consider the personalities of all these different people that are working on it.
Yeah, I mean they're all working on it in different ways. It's kind of
Mm,
like, it's like different. And then there's the guys who are playing it live with me who've been great, who
yeah,
work on the record. They're like 20 something London guys who have
yeah,
like adopted this and
yeah,
are like now my band.
yeah,
But they're not on the record. They might be on the next thing, but so there's a lot of different personalities going on and people who have different relationships to it. I mean, there's
mm,
like two old men on this island, like
yeah.
they play like homemade banjo string instruments named Snowflake and Frank.
Wow,
They don't
amazing.
even know the album's coming out, but they're the voices on additional animals. They play the mandolin.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they literally probably don't even remember doing it. Like
Yeah,
we did it in like a hotel room with the windows open and the beach right there and the monkeys. Like,
it's
and
amazing.
I swear to God, if I walked past them on the street, they probably wouldn't recognize me. It was like a quick thing, in like the middle of the night, on an island. The cool thing is that in January, I'm going to go back to the island and play
Yeah,
a couple of shows, which
brilliant.
I'll put on Instagram and stuff. Like nobody
Yeah,
will be at the shows, but they'll be in the palm trees on a stage.
that's so
It'll
cool.
look like a show.
Yeah,
And I'm doing that because I want to bring them all back together and
yeah,
kind of celebrate this thing and so that I'm sending them the songs now. They probably haven't really
yeah,
heard them since they played on them, and so they'll relearn
yeah.
those parts. And yeah, and it's just really kind of cool.
I think that I honestly I think that's such a beautiful thing to do. I
Yeah,
really do, because that's like there's so much in music, in life, you know about how you make money out of it and don't lose and blah blah, blah, and it's about the commercial side of it, and
yeah,
that what you just described sounds to me like this is like life.
yeah, Yeah.
kind of living and sort of celebrating what
Yeah.
they've
They're
done.
definitely not making any money. So
Yeah.
just spending. But yeah, no, it's gonna be super cool. And there also it's like another weird thing is just that the all ages thing of this record, like that's not
Mm.
common, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like 80-year-old like Rasta dudes on the record, and then there's like my daughter does some of the singing on some of
yeah.
it, 13.
Wow.
Live it'll look like a bunch of 20 somethings, but the record is filled with like life. It's like
I
all
think
over the
that's
place. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that is really
Cool.
that's really great, and I think that is kind of what's been, it's still a part of what's missing in life anyway, isn't it? This kind of like, things. I mean, again, I think about how products that we buy are kind of marketed to, particular groups of people, and it's very kind of
Yeah.
compartmentalized, and
Yeah.
it's not it's just not helpful. I mean, okay, some things need to be, but generally it's kind of not helpful,
Yeah.
but music can cross over that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on here. I mean, like you look at the TikTok followers on this thing, there's like, you
Mm,
know, 13-year-olds from Bolivia,
yeah.
okay? And then obviously like the market for this is like 50-year-old people from London who, right? That's what you would think.
Yes.
So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just going to be a weird kind of sort of all over the place sort of thing.
That
Like
kind of
we
make.
opened for, yeah, we opened for Cast
Oh
uh
yes.
in New York.
Yeah.
It was a really great venue, Sony Hall.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't really think that we're like should be meshed with Cast,
Mm,
but that audience like really got into it.
they got
Uh,
it. Yeah.
yeah, they got it. We had a big band. It was like Stop Making Sense. It was like singers and congas. I just it was in my hometown, so I just went for it. I was like,
Yeah.
got everyone I know, and it was pretty wild. So, but yeah, they liked it. So maybe it has a kind of universal vibe or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. And how's Charlie enjoying it?
He's definitely enjoying it. You know, I don't know if it's his generation or what exactly. I mean, I think they're not as like obsessive, compulsive about like music and uh like he loves it, but he's just not as I was crazier at his age about
Okay.
like succeeding and like getting signed and like
Yeah.
I was kind of an animal, I think, a little bit.
Mm,
He's a little more like
kind of
chill.
laid back. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's into it. He's just not as like insane as I was, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But maybe that that's just yeah. I don't know if that's a sort of personality thing or generational thing,
It's a little
possibly sort of
both, but
generation, bit of
I think it
both.
is a little generational though. I think they're they have so much information coming at them that they've just um
Yeah.
not mm, like we didn't have that much going on at 18.
Yeah.
This
No, true.
was the internet for me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
was everything. There was nothing to do. It was like so music was like the only thing.
Yeah.
It's just not the only thing for him and his friends.
Do you know?
They like it, but
It's interesting you say that about all this kind of information that comes at us, and um I sort of followed this this kind of think tank. It sounds terrible, but they are actually quite good. But I remember one of the kind of directors wrote this sort of piece on all this information that's coming at us and how we just cannot possibly, and for you and me have kind of grown up pre-internet as well, and you think
Yeah.
exactly as you say, there wasn't as much to do.
Yeah.
Because if you wanted to find out something, you got to haul yourself down to the library to look
Yeah.
something up, and hope that if they haven't got the book in, you have to wait till next week to find it out.
Yeah.
And but like one of the most important things that we can have now is she called it critical ignoring. You know, basically about how to strain out the sort of the shit that you don't need to know about. And I feel like I could do with a healthy dose of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
To
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to,
but I wonder if the younger generation, if people of Charlie's ages are more adept at that because that's what they've grown up with. That's what they've
yeah,
known.
yeah. I mean, I can't
I
even
don't know.
imagine really is what it's like, to be honest. It's like, but I do know that it's got to be harder to like get in a headspace where it's like I'm just doing laptop and I'm doing these
Mm,
12 songs, or
yeah,
I'm making this one film for next year and that's all I'm doing. Like, I mean, it
yeah,
takes a certain kind of like focus that like we just didn't even have to develop. It just was like kind of automatic, you know.
yeah.
Uh, so
I guess a lot more musicians these days sort of play in multiple bands or
mm,
outfits.
mm, yeah,
It's not
right.
just kind of one, and it's several.
Collaborate with things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, different
yeah,
collaborations. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I know. I have this friend who keeps asking me, dude, do you know this band? Do you see this? It's like, and I'm still very old school. Like, I'm like, I don't really know all that because I'm
Mm,
pretty much like just making these songs.
yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah,
I can't consume constantly. Like, I just,
yeah. I know what you mean. I mean, I found as I get older that doing multiple things at once is kind of a challenge, getting a challenge.
yeah, yeah,
The headspace just isn't there. I used to like my dad before he died, he was like this. He was like, "Oh, I need to do this. I've got one thing to do this week." I'm like, "Dad, really?"
yeah,
And now I'm kind of like, "Hey, I can see that.
yeah,
See what he was going through."
yeah. It's a nice idea.
Oh
Yeah.
my. So, so basically, we've got the plan is we've got singles to come and some live stuff as well, maybe.
Yeah, couple more singles and then the album On This Planet, it's called. And then I as you can imagine, I'm kind of ready to go with the next record. It's kind of done actually,
Yeah,
because of all that recording.
yeah,
So I think I don't know if there really will be a break between the albums. It'll just kind of just be like, okay, well now the first song for the next thing, maybe in the
yeah,
fall and next year, like in September or something. So there'll be this
yeah.
kind of like it's almost like a TV show. It's a laptop
Mm,
show. So there'll just
mm,
be like a song every 6 weeks, and
yeah,
you could tune in or not, or come and go. You might miss a good song if you don't, keep paying attention. But yeah, so it's serialized a little bit. I mean, I will try to make a little video for each thing, and then I think I'm touring the United States in April.
hmm.
Uh, there's a band, Art Brut. Do you know Art
Okay.
Brut?
I don't
Yeah.
know them, no, no.
Uh, I guess they were kind of well known in England in the 2000s. I don't know. He's a really cool guy, the singer, and he was a laptop fan growing up.
Yeah, yeah,
And he came to a show with a demo, and his brother got drunk, and he couldn't give it to me. And I don't know. There was a whole story about it, but he's into laptops, so he's gonna we're gonna play with him in April in the States.
Brilliant.
And weird enough, I've really never played outside of New York in laptop in
Okay.
States. Like I played in England, I did a tour of Europe, but
Yeah.
I didn't play like Chicago or even
Wow.
LA. So so that'll be kind of interesting to kind of like play my country. Um, so that's April, and then I'm hoping I'll come back and do May or June in London. You're in
Yeah.
London?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I need to figure that out. So yeah, I do want to do it live. I think it's good
Yeah.
live.
That'll be so good to see you play.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Jesse, thank you so much.
Yeah, that was
It's been a
great.
pleasure. Been a real
Yeah.
pleasure.